today we are saluting veterans, changing lives and healing through creative expression. I'm sure it's no surprise to hear this, but songwriting has helped me get through some real crazy hard times. I believe the power of the pen can be transformational for all of us. That's why this season we've partnered with Pilot G2 Pen, the go-to pen of the Kelly Clarkson Show. And today we want to tell you about an ultimate overachiever, a former Marine who's helping veterans cope with trauma by teaching them to write songs about their experiences. Dialing in from Nashville, let's welcome the founder of Creative Vets, Richard Casper. And also, we have one of the songwriters from Creative Vets, Jesse Wayne Taylor, here on the couch. Give it up for Jesse. So it's awesome to be here and meet you both. But Richard, I'm going to start with you. Before we talk about Creative Vets, let's just chat about your service. Like, when did you enlist?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I enlisted in 2003. And this is straight out of high school, so I had about 2 weeks of summertime fun before I shipped off to boot camp. And I got sidetracked a little bit. I thought I was going straight to war. I was like, I want to be the first one overseas fighting for my country. I'm going to do Marine Corps infantry and be over there. And I kind of got sidetracked, and I was selected to be a presidential guard. So I ended up guarding George W. Bush up at Camp David for 14 months, which was awesome. And my mom loved it because she said, well, now he's not in harm's way.
Yeah.
The issue was I really wanted to go overseas. Like, it was inside of me to go serve my country. And so I did 14 months. And I said, you know, I have to go overseas. I have to fight for my country. I can't get out of the Marine Corps not doing that. And so they shipped me off. I left in 2006. And within the first 4 months of being in Iraq, my Humvee was blown up 4 separate times, which left a left traumatic brain injury, and I received a Purple Heart for those injuries. And then my buddy Luke Yepsen was shot and killed beside me.
Wow.
So I was considered unfit for duty after only 4 months. And so you can only imagine my transition home, not having any kind of background in how to cope with this. And so the transition home was one of the hardest, but I thought, you know, I'm back. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to be an entrepreneur, or I'm going to do something cool now. And it just hit me. It hit me hard, the PTSD, the anxiety, the depression. And I ended up going to college, but not even being able to go to school like I wanted to. My brain injury was so affecting my life that I had to do one-on-one speeches with my speech teacher, and I couldn't do a lot. So I did what I thought was a cop-out, and I went to the arts program and said, I'm just going to study arts. And what I found there was life-changing, being able to tell my story without telling my story, and creative writing specifically, like songwriting.
Yeah, it truly helped. That's the gift, yeah. So writing your first song led you to launch Creative Vets. So explain how it helps people, explain what it does.
Oh my God, this is one of the coolest things ever. When we first started, it was just me and a veteran bringing him to Nashville. But now where it's gone is we have 5 veterans will fly to town. They'll fly to Nashville, Tennessee. Creative Vets covers their flights, their food, their housing. We also pair them up with mentors. So veterans like me who've been through this program will call those veterans and say, hey, I was injured. What's your story? And now they tell them that story, and they say, when you come to Nashville, I'm going to be with you the whole time. I'm going to go into the writer's room with you and help you tell that story. So now the veterans are here in Nashville, and on the second day, they go to the backstage of the Grand Ole Opry, and they write in the dressing rooms with #1 and pro songwriters to tell their story for the first time. And we don't stop there, because after about 4 hours, we have their song now. They come out of this room, they go into it all sad, they come out of it so excited that they have a song, but the next day it gets more exciting because we fully record each and every veteran's song. So now they're not only hearing their song come to life with some of the best session musicians in town, they're hearing the veteran next to them that they never knew before, their song come to life. And they're saying, wait, I'm not alone in this fight. This song sounds kind of like what I'm going through as well.
Absolutely.
And it's just life-changing. And we've had around 140 writes now to date with our main programming. And we have over 300 veterans on our waiting list, so we still have a lot to do.
Wow, I mean, it's an incredible thing, the writing process. But Jesse, so, I mean, one, it's an exciting thing to be able to sit with somebody probably in a room. You might not know what you're going to write about, but you do know you're going to be able to help someone. And that is the coolest thing as a writer, to be able to actually have a message that matters, and you're getting to help them with that. So what made you want to be a part of Creative Vets?
So I met Richard Casper at the Whiskey Jam one Monday night in Nashville, and he was trying to do some networking, trying to meet songwriters that would be willing to write with veterans in the program. And a young lady introduced me to him, and he told me a little bit about what he'd already done and what he was hoping to do. And I was like, man, that sounds amazing. I would really love to be a part of that. Anytime you need somebody, here's my phone number. And I told him my great-granddad also was in the military, and before he died, he shared some stories with me that was very difficult to watch him have to do that. And that impacted me greatly and made me want to be a part of it.
Oh, who would have thought, you know? So what was the first writing session like? Was it hard? Because I do know when you get in a room and you don't know people, you're like, well, I hope it works.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure,
yeah.
exactly. And it definitely was hard. I had gone through therapeutic things in a room before, but not anything like with that. Like in mind, like we were probably going to process something that was very difficult that they hadn't processed before. And that's exactly what happened. We went into the room, and it was a hard 4 hours for us writers and for the gentleman that was going through the program at the time. But by the end of the process, you know, some tears were shed, and we had a song. At the end of that, Richard asked me if I would play it in the writers' round that I was playing in town later that evening. I went to the venue. They showed up. I played the song, and that gentleman cried and sang the words back to me. So he cried and he sang the words back to me the whole time. And while he did that, it just like really made a massive impact on me. It just really showed how powerful this stuff is.
Yeah.
Because like it was something so hard that he had to deal with, but he was smiling about it while he was singing it. It didn't make any sense, but it made sense.
Also joining us now is Dan, an Army veteran who was injured in Iraq. After going through some hard times, he hooked up with Creativette. So it's great to meet you. Great to see you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for your service. I have to tell us about your time in the military before we get into songwriting.
I grew up in a military family. Both my parents were Army, and then they went into defense contracting. And when 9/11 happened, I was a student in college and decided I wanted to serve my country. I went and enlisted in the Army. In 2003, 2004, I served in Iraq and got busted up pretty bad, blew my knee out, and ended up having some traumatic brain injury issues. When I got home, for the first time in my life, I had anxiety and depression, was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. They told me I needed a knee replacement at 27, but
Yikes.
that I needed to wait as long as possible to have that surgery. And so I waited 15 years. 2019, I had a total knee replacement on my right knee.
Did they just want you to be in pain? Why did you have to wait? I was like, wait, I don't understand.
So the problem is that the knee replacement only lasts so long. And so if you
they're
have
like
it
last
too
as long
young-
as you. Oh, okay. Because I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, back up. I'd be like, fix it. So what happened after the surgery?
So after the surgery, I went home and immediately had an issue where the pain meds weren't working at all. And like I had a nerve block at the hospital and went home, and I couldn't move without breaking into tears. My daughter saw it, my son saw it, and it was really hard for them. At one point, I had to go to the emergency room just to go back. I had to call an ambulance to take me in. And
That's traumatic for all of you.
yes.
Yeah.
And this was probably the first time that they had seen that, my Iraq issues, I guess, results of that, impact me to that degree.
So what was it like when you first hooked up with Creativettes? Were you a little nervous?
Oh my gosh.
I would have been terrified.
It's at the Grand Ole Opry,
Yeah.
it's holy ground for country music.
If I
and-
wasn't a songwriter and that wasn't my norm, I would have been terrified.
I
Yeah.
was terrified.
Yeah.
But Richard and everybody made it great. I got to go out onto the stage. I got to stand in the circle. And then, Richard took me backstage into the Cowboy Room, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
I got to meet Jesse Taylor and Dan Couch, and we sat down. I had no idea what was about to happen. I've never written a song before, and my friend Alan O'Keefe, he's like, "You're gonna love this. It's gonna help you." And I'm like, "I don't have any musical talent or anything." And he's like, "This is gonna be great."
I love that it gets you out of your comfort zone to just try something new. Jesse, you worked with Dan, so what was your first impression of the session when you heard his story?
Yeah, so Dan came into the Cowboy Room, and Dan Couch and I were already back there. So he and Richard came into the room, and so we shook hands. Dan told him a little bit about himself. I told him a little bit about myself, and then we asked this Dan to tell us about himself and what he wanted to write about that day. And it quickly became evident that he wanted to write something communicating a message to his children.
Oh, which is so beautiful. So, Dan, what elements, were important to you to get into the song? Was it your children?
Yeah, so I had heard a lot from people in my life, like, hey, you should have met Dan before he went to Iraq. Like, he was a totally different person. And so for me, I was like, I wish my kids could have had that version of me.
That's hard to hear.
But it is what it is. And so for me, I wanted to, like, the whole core of the song was going to be broken. And we worked through it, and watching Dan and Richard and Jesse just bounce it back and forth, and they're coming up with the music, and then we're hitting all the lines. And at one point I said, you know what though, when I'm with my kids, I feel unbroken. And so that's where, we came up with, the hook, and, it's I'm broken, but I'm in the fight. But when I'm with you, I'm unbroken. And so I wanted my kids to know that I am in the fight. I'm still working. And then, my favorite line of it is, the way you smile, the way you laugh, the way you love, it brings me back. So when I'm having a hard time, like when I'm around them, just hearing my daughter smile or hearing my daughter laugh, or seeing them smile, it helps bring me back. And I'm just working on now being a better version rather than the pre-Iraq version of Dan.
It's a great metaphor, right? Like that it was first titled Broken, and then you flipped it and you changed it and you focused on something else and repurposed those memories. Like, that's amazing. The title itself, the song, like, it kind of expresses why you're doing it in the first place. So Jesse will be performing this song a little later in the show. We are so stoked about that. Dan, how did it make you feel like once you were able to put your emotions into words? Did you think it was actually going to happen, or are you like, I don't know what's going to happen here?
I had no idea what was going to happen. But emotionally, when I went home, played it for my kids, I was like, here's why I was gone. Played the song. My son immediately hugged me, and I was like, do you get it? And he's like, I understand, Dad. And he just gave me the biggest hug. And my daughter, I don't know that she grasped it as much.
Okay, no, I'm fine.
I don't know that my daughter got it right away, but she's like, that's our song, and Aww. I'm a great dad. I love my kids, and I work really hard to deal with my pain and my mental health issues, but it's hard to bridge a gap between your kids and like them seeing you struggle. And so this Richard and Jesse and Dan gave me a path, it closed that bridge between my kids and I. And I feel like we're closer because of it. It's our song. I'm thriving today because of what they offered me. And I can't ever thank them enough.
It is amazing though, that is key, Richard, like putting them in the room or someone they're comfortable with, that gets it, so they're not just coming in and nobody gets it. So Richard, our friends at Pilot, the go-to pin of the Kelly Clarkson Show, understand the power that writing has to change lives, just like it has for the veterans involved with Creative Vets. So they're using their Pilot G2 pin to write your incredible organization a check for $5,000. And also, you know what? We're going to double that because we love this. So you're actually getting $10,000 for Creative Vets. We love what you're doing.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. It especially hits home for me, as a songwriter. It is like such a, I've been through this pandemic. It's been a hard time for everybody on top of all the everyone's personal stuff. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to write out your feelings, and like, it's so therapeutic and so necessary for everybody to have some kind of outlet. So thank you for providing that outlet for people, especially the people that have been sacrificing their lives for us. Thank you guys so much.